Think about the best leader you've ever known. Not the most famous, not the most powerful, not the richest. The best. Now think about the worst. Both of them had titles. Both of them had authority. Both of them were called leaders. So what separated them? Here's the uncomfortable truth that most leadership books won't tell you. Most people with the title of leader, you're not actually leading. And some of the most powerful leaders in history never held a title at all. Leadership is not a destination. It's not a promotion. It's not a corner office or a business card. Leadership is a climb. And that climb has levels. The context. Why this matters now more than ever. Right now, the world is experiencing what researchers are calling a leadership credibility crisis. Trust in immediate managers has plummeted to just 29%, a 37% decline in just a few years. Let that sink in. 77% of organizations currently lack sufficient leadership depth across all levels. 26% of managers have never received any management training whatsoever. And yet, paradoxically, the global leadership development market is valued at $366 billion, with $166 billion spent in the United States alone. We are spending billions trying to build leaders, and most of it isn't working. 75% of organizations rate their leadership development programs as not very effective. Only 18% say their leaders are very effective at achieving business goals. Why? Because we've been teaching leadership like it's a skill, when in reality, it's an evolution. Leadership theories span four main types: trait theories, focusing on leader characteristics; behavioral theories, emphasizing leader actions; contingency theories, matching style to situation; and contemporary theories, including transformational, servant, and authentic leadership. Across all of these frameworks, across decades of research, across thousands of case studies, one pattern keeps emerging. Leadership grows in levels, and understanding those levels changes everything. The foundation, the blueprint, where it starts. In 1993, a minister, author, and organizational consultant named John C. Maxwell introduced a framework that would quietly reshape how the world thinks about leadership. He later published The 5 Levels of Leadership, recognizing that everyone is a leader in their own right, and offering a guide for how to move from one level to the next. But Maxwell's 5 levels were just the foundation. When we layer in decades of psychology, behavioral science, military strategy, neuroscience, sociology, and organizational research, a fuller picture emerges. 10 levels, 10 stages of leadership evolution. Not a checklist, not a shortcut. A climb. Let's start at the bottom. Level 1, the titled leader. Because they have to. Every climb begins somewhere. For most leaders, it begins with a title. The lowest level of leadership is position. It's the only level that requires no ability or effort to achieve. Anyone can be appointed to a position. And while nothing is wrong with having a leadership position, everything is wrong with relying only on that position to get people to follow. At level 1, people follow because they have to. Think about every bad boss you've ever had. They likely never left level 1. They wielded a title like a weapon, mistaking authority for respect. The titled leader confuses compliance with commitment. But here's the thing. Level 1 is not shameful. It is simply the start. The only question is, do you stay? Level 2, the relational leader. Because they want to. When a leader steps beyond their title and begins to genuinely invest in people, something shifts. People begin to follow because they want to. This is the permission level. The leader has traded the armor of hierarchy for the warmth of human connection. Trust begins to grow. The energy in a room changes. People show up differently. Research demonstrates that trust in leaders is directly linked to behavior, performance, and collaboration. And that link begins here, at level 2. The relational leader is liked, and that matters deeply. But being liked is not the same as being effective. Level 3, the results leader. because of what you've done. The third level is where leaders start producing. At the production level, the leader has spent enough time with the team to deliver specific, measurable results. People admire this leader, not just for their interpersonal warmth, but for their expertise, their ability to read data, to make informed decisions, to provide the right guidance at the right moment. People follow because of what the leader has done for the organization. But here is where many talented leaders fall into a dangerous trap. Because if a level 3 leader leaves the team, it will not be able to recover swiftly. Everything they brought, the clarity, the momentum, the results, leaves with them. The team is left with a gaping hole. The results leader is valuable, but they are also, in a way, irreplaceable. And that is not a compliment. It is a warning. Real leadership doesn't just produce. Real leadership multiplies. The middle levels, where most leaders live and die. This is where the documentary gets uncomfortable, because this is where most people stop. Level 4, the developer, because of what you've done for them. The fourth level requires a profound act of leadership, ego surrender. Level 4 can be summed up in one word: reproduction. The goal is to identify and develop as many leaders as possible, by investing in them, by believing in them before they believe in themselves, by helping them grow beyond what they thought they were capable of. When there are more leaders, more of the mission gets accomplished. When you invest in people, you multiply yourself. People follow at level 4 because of what the leader has done for them personally. Their career has grown, their confidence has expanded, their ceiling has been raised. This is where legacy begins. Psychological safety, the deep perception that one can freely express ideas, voice concerns, and take risks without fear of punishment, is directly shaped by leadership behavior. Developer leaders create environments where people become more than they thought they could be. And those people, in turn, create more leaders. The multiplication is real, and it is powerful. Level 5, the pinnacle leader, because of who you are. The fifth level is the highest rung in Maxwell's original model, and it is difficult to reach. At the pinnacle, the leader has spent years, sometimes decades, coaching and training other leaders within the organization. Not just results, not just relationships. They have built leaders. People follow a pinnacle leader not because of what they've done, but because of who they are and what they represent. Pinnacle leaders think in decades, not quarters. They make decisions about people, culture, and strategy with a patience that runs counter to almost every modern organizational pressure. The teams shaped by these leaders demonstrate high psychological safety. People challenge ideas openly. They surface problems early. They take intelligent risks. They recover from failure without fear of lasting consequences. But Maxwell himself acknowledged the question his 5 levels raise. What happens beyond pinnacle? What happens when influence stretches beyond the walls of a single organization? The research says there are 5 more rungs. Level 6, the systems thinker, beyond the team. Level 6 leaders have evolved beyond personal influence. They no longer ask, how can I lead better? They ask, how can the system lead for us? The systems thinker designs structures, cultures, and feedback loops that lead when they are not in the room. Their influence doesn't depend on their presence. It has been embedded into process, into habit, into the very architecture of how an organization operates. Sustainable organizations are not built on personalities. They are built on systems that outlast any individual. The systems thinker knows this, not as a theory, but as a practice. Level 7, the adaptive leader. In the storm, we live in a moment of relentless disruption, accelerating change, AI transformation, rising expectations, shifting workforce realities, markets that move faster than strategy. Leadership is reaching an inflection point, demanding unprecedented agility. While driving business results remains critical, today's exceptional leaders must also master the human elements, building trust, cultivating growth, and forging authentic connection. Level 7 is the adaptive leader, not a reactionary, an anticipator, a leader who can be authoritarian during a security crisis and deeply collaborative during a creative brainstorm, reading the situation, shifting the approach, meeting the moment. Research shows that leaders today identify setting strategy and managing change as their two greatest skill gaps. The adaptive leader doesn't just survive disruption. They navigate it and bring their people through it. Consider Maria. She managed a team of 12 at a mid-sized logistics company in Detroit. For years, she was a level 3 leader. Brilliant, results-driven, irreplaceable. Until one day, her best employee left. And then another. Not for more money. For a manager who made them feel seen. Maria didn't know she was stuck. Nobody had ever shown her the map. Or consider James, a military officer who led men through combat in 3 conflicts. His authority was absolute, his title unquestionable. His team would follow him anywhere. But when he transitioned to corporate life, he was stunned to discover that nobody followed him at all. Because in the boardroom, authority isn't granted by rank. It has to be earned. James had to unlearn level 1 and rebuild himself from level 2 upward, in his mid-40s, from scratch. These are not failure stories. These are human stories. And they are happening right now, in millions of organizations, in every industry, on every continent. Research suggests that only 10% of people are natural leaders, but another 20% show real leadership potential with proper training. The other 70%? They are not less capable. They simply haven't been shown the climb. The upper levels, where leadership becomes legacy. The upper levels of leadership are rarely discussed in business schools. They are rarely measured in performance reviews. They don't show up on LinkedIn profiles or quarterly earnings calls, but they are the levels where history is made. Level 8, the cultural architect, building what outlasts you. Cultural architects understand something that most leaders never grasp. The most powerful thing you can build is not a product, not a profit margin, not even a team. It is a culture, a set of values and behaviors so deeply embedded that the organization leads itself. Values-driven leadership stresses the importance of setting clear values that an entire organization can embody. Values that persist regardless of who holds the title, regardless of who sits in the chair. Research tells us that managers account for 70% of team engagement. 70%. The cultural architect knows this. Every conversation, every decision, every response to failure and to success is a brushstroke on the canvas of organizational culture. They are painting something that will outlive them. And they know it. And they paint accordingly. Level 9, the movement builder, leading beyond the organization. Level 9 is rare, but when you see it, you feel it. The movement builder has transcended institutional leadership entirely. They don't need an organization to lead. Their idea leads. Their vision mobilizes. Their belief becomes a force that moves people who have never met them, across distances and decades. Think of the teachers who changed how we think about learning, the scientists who shifted paradigms, the social entrepreneurs who reimagined systems of justice, healthcare, or access. Leadership, at its core, is a social process that enables individuals to achieve collective results. At level 9, the collective is not a team of 12 or a company of 5,000. It is a generation. Level 10, the legacy leader. When you become the mountain. The 10th level is not about power. It is not about fame, or tenure, or achievement. Level 10 leadership is the point at which a leader's influence becomes self-perpetuating, a legacy that continues to grow, inspire, and lead long after the leader themselves has stepped away. Experience at this level allows a leader to extend influence beyond their immediate reach and beyond their time for the benefit of others. The legacy leader is defined by one question: Not what have I built, but what have I given away. The greatest leaders in history are great not because of what they did, but because of what they made possible. Because the levels of leadership build upon each other, from relying solely on formal authority, to empowering through relationship, to delivering through performance, to reproducing through others, to embedding through culture, to moving through generations. Each level richer than the last, each rung harder and more meaningful to reach. Here is the twist, the one that changes everything. You are not climbing one mountain. You are climbing several, simultaneously, at different levels on each one. You may be a level 8 cultural architect at work, and a level 2 permission leader at home with your children. You may be a level 9 movement builder in your community, and a level 1 titled leader in a new team you've just joined. Leadership is not a rank you hold globally. It is a relationship. And every relationship has its own elevation. No single leadership approach is universally most effective. The right model depends on organizational context, team needs, and situational factors that shift constantly, across environments, across challenges, across the seasons of a life. And critically, the goal is not to move away from one level to grow at a new one. These levels build upon each other. A level 5 leader still does what level 2 requires. They simply add the depth of level 5 on top. And as they become effective at each layer, they are ready to add the next. You don't leave the foundation. You build on it. The most dangerous leader in the world is the one who has stopped climbing, who believes they have arrived. The most powerful leader in the world is the one who looks down and sees 1,000 people below them and extends their hand. Leadership is not what you think it is. It is not charisma. It is not dominance. It is not a corner office or a title on a business card. It is a choice, made every single day, to go first, to take responsibility when no one else will, to invest in someone who cannot yet see what you see in them, to build something that doesn't require you to keep it standing. The world is changing faster than at any point in human history. Accelerating disruption, shifting expectations, a workforce searching, not just for jobs, but for meaning. And leadership is becoming harder, and lonelier, and more complex. Many talented people are opting out of it entirely. But here is the encouraging truth. Most leaders find that self-reflection, open discussion, and a commitment to continuous learning are transformative, that they can turn the weight of leadership into something generative, something that grows them, and through them, grows everyone around them. The world does not suffer from a shortage of people with titles. It suffers from a shortage of people willing to climb. Only 28% of people strongly agree that leadership genuinely cares about their well-being. 28%. That means somewhere in your life right now, in your team, your family, your community, your corner of the world, there is a gap. A gap that a leader could fill. Not a perfect one, not an all-knowing one, not a finished one, just someone willing to climb, one level at a time. The question is not what level you are on. The question is, which direction are you moving? Leadership is not about being in charge. It is about taking care of those in your charge. Simon Sinek.